Welcome back everyone to the 6th round of the London Chess Classic. In today's round we have the battle of the youngest 2800 ever versus the youngest Grandmaster ever, Abhimanyu Mishra and Alireza Firouzja. Abhimanyu became Grandmaster at the age of 12 years old and 4 months. And as you can see on the screen, we have a very sharp opening as well, Najdorf. And in this position, Alireza plays a very interesting line, very common line nowadays, h3. He wants to go for g4 maybe. And now as Najdorf goes, he goes e5. The pawn on d6 becomes backward, but he wants to play d5 at some point. We kick out the knight. Main line here. Normally people used to play knight d2 was main line, but nowadays they go to b3 as Alireza did. But just to show you some moves how it used to go, it's h5 and g3, and then bishop g2 and castle, bishop e3, f4. But in this position Alireza played knight b3, bishop to e6, provoking f4. So Alireza played such kind of move against Luke McShane a couple of rounds ago. I mean, he could go for bishop e7 as well, but bishop e6 is more precise and controls d5. But the problem is you just invite f4, and black doesn't have problem against that. He goes b5 right away, going for attacking the knight and not worried about f5. In this position, Alireza played queen f3, which is an interesting move. I mean, f5 is also one of the main moves. And in this position, after bishop c8, bishop g5, bishop to e7, a4, b4, knight to d5 could have been a very interesting position. Objectively, probably this is the best way, but probably players, they just worked it out to the draw after queen b6 exchange, queen sacrifice. So in this position, I'll put queen f3, just developing his queen side, going probably for f4, maybe even g4, g5 without f5 immediately, bishop e3, long castle, and controlling d5 square. For example, before I jump to d5. So knight c6, and in this position, he played pawn to g4. Just be careful, if you go f5 here, it's not that great because he can take and go knight d4. So after g4, rook to c8. In this position, Alireza played a very nice move, which rarely has been played, at least in top level. Already we are in a rare game territory. Let's see if you can guess the move. So for example, here if you play f5, it's completely wrong move because he can take and go knight d4, and your queen and pawn are under attack and b4 is coming. And other move is g5, and after knight d7, your pawn structure became weak here, and after move like bishop e3, knight to b4 is bothering this c2 pawn. Sometimes a lot happens in such lines. Rook takes c3, pawn takes f4, knight comes to e5. So here Alireza played queen to g2. Best move in this position. It looks very funny, strange, but controls and also avoids knight d4 ideas. In this position, he plays pawn to h6 to stop g5 ideas. And here Alireza played bishop to e3, because if you play g5 here, it's not that appetizing anymore. You open the rook, the knight's control, there is no pressure on the center anymore. So bishop e3, takes. I mean, bishop d2 was objectively best, but after e takes f4, it's same thing. And in this position, he played knight to e7. So far, as you can see on the clock, he was playing super fast, Abhimanyu. He was super prepared. And I mean, honestly, nowadays chess is just more at this level, more of a research, you know, like every line is draw. If they just memorize this until move 40, it's just you cannot show that you are a better player or there is no creativity. So he just knew everything. Knight e7 basically, and rook c3 is coming, and it's really hard to get advantage here. Alireza goes castle. Rook takes c3 is coming, which is a very common idea in Sicilian, and it's very fascinating. I mean, look at this position. If you want to let aside computer analysis, look at this. Like, his pieces are not even active, and this exchange sacrifice works. So in this position, Alireza has two options: either take the rook or rook takes d6 and attacking the queen in between move, Zwischenzug. And Alireza goes for the second option. It was better to just take the rook objectively and allow knight g6. And black's idea is to at some point go for d5, activate the bishop, go castle, bring the queen over the king. He wants to just attack maybe. Very dynamic. So in this position, you have, I mean, because if you don't know it, you just play bishop g3, and after queen c7, you just end up being worse. For example, after king b2, knight e5, you're already much worse, and after knight d4, bishop c8, black is much better here. So you have to know after knight g6, bishop to d2, you guard your king and pawn on c3, and after bishop e7, g5, and all of this you have to know, so you just are not maybe worse with the white pieces. King b1, and it's an interesting game if you know so far. I mean, it's anyone's game. So rook takes d6, queen c8, and after take, I mean, this is chess.com's feedback. I have to turn it off. You just take the rook back. That's not rocket science. And Alirza's idea was to just play solid with this rook d6. Actually, rook d6, here strong players call it a solid move, because eventually you just want to sack back the exchange with knight g6 and bishop can take, and that's what Alirza did. And after queen c3, I mean, the guy just blitzed out kind of all the moves so far, and you just want to exchange queens, and because you're becoming worse, and that's why he played queen d2. Objectively, it was better to just play bishop d3, and yeah, but it's scary. First of all, the best objective move is knight e5 and then queen d2, but imagine bishop takes b3 over the board, and after queen d4 attacking the bishop, it's very scary for white, and the line goes like knight d5, queen e4, queen c3, king d1, knight f4. But here, white is completely fine. Apparently, black should go for perpetual, but from far is just so hard. So Alirza played queen d2 and went for the bit worse endgame. But honestly, in practical, with two bishops, I don't see any world that you can lose this, you know, because two bishops, the position is also has the potential to become open with c4, a4. So, but black is, let's see if black could win this game with king e7. It has a bit advantage because simply he has better pieces, and Alirza just guards the pawn on a2. Computer was showing an interesting idea here with rook g3, rook a3. Beautiful idea, important to know. And after h5, g5 by Alirza, knight d7, and knight to b3. Knight is going to d4 and eventually to f5. So white wants to open just the position. Pawns even don't matter, and wants to just exchange pieces eventually and activate the rook. Another idea here was after knight d7 to go c4, but because you don't have rook b8, the bishop is here, and after b4 you go attack the pawns, but practically your king sometimes could get mated, who knows. So, but Alirza just brings the knight to d4, which is completely fine, and here very nice move, knight f5. It's not an easy move, knight f5 check. It's really the experience that really talks here. After knight f5, he just plays king f8, because if you take knight f3, it looks like white is losing a pawn. The pawn on g5 is hanging, but the position is too open. I mean, for two bishop advantage, and for one of the lines here, white can have compensation for the pawn is that you just activate his pieces, and the position is so open for the bishops. But he goes king f8. He wants to try for something more. Knight c4 we don't take, and knight e5. It looks like all of black's pieces are more active. My rook is doing nothing, and here Alirza plays bishop f4. Maybe you ask, why not just bishop e2? Because after this trade and knight e3, we don't want to allow this, so we have to control this e3 square. Rook d8, bishop e2, we attack the pawn on h5, and after g6, knight e3, here is beautiful. After knight takes e3, oops, we don't want to take this knight, we want to take this knight because we want to just trap kind of this knight and trade more pieces. And after bishop a2, rook h3, the knight has to get exchanged, and it's going to be opposite color bishops, and here Abhimanyu apparently offered draw. Alirza accepted, so with this draw Alirza has 4 points out of 6 rounds or possible points behind Abdusattorov, who is crushing everyone for the moment. He's on a 5-win streak and 5.5 points, and Alirza going to play against Nikita Nvityugov tomorrow. Gonna be very interesting matchup. And yeah, let's see what happens. It was round 6, 3 rounds to go. It's still anyone's tournament. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed the recap, make sure to subscribe and like the video. So still 3 more recaps to go, and see you guys in tomorrow's video. Thank you. Ciao, ciao.